Guys, welcome to this intro to data analytics session. I'll just share the agenda with you guys first. So it's going to be a very brief introduction to data analytics. I won't be going into too much details into each of these sections, but telling you briefly about it because most of the people who are joining this call are very new to this field and would learn are here to learn more about the field. So I'll keep it very brief. If you have any questions, just feel free to stop me, ask me anything, and we'll also have some time towards the end of the session to discuss any more questions. So in today's session, we'll be like, I'll firstly tell a bit about myself because I'm not sure if you guys know me, like what experience I have from analytics and like how my experience I can share with you guys and how it can be useful. Then who is this session for? Like what background or like what are the background of people who can benefit from this data analytics session, and what is data analytics, the biggest question. Then getting into the areas where you can work in the UK in data analytics, because I know a lot of people here are interested or looking for jobs in data analytics. Then we'll also discuss about the skills needed. I'll break it down into, like if you're a complete beginner, what do you need to learn? And if you are, because there are some people who do have some experience, so I also have added a section like if you're experienced and like worked in India, now moving to UK, and if you want to learn like how should I go about looking for a job, I've also added that. Then we'll be talking about how to look for job in data analytics. I mean, it's a very standard process how everyone looks for a job, but the process could vary. Like what I've learned from my experience over the last 7 to 8 years, the process could vary from role to role. So I have just added my learnings there. So we'll share that. And how to make your resume stand out is just a part of the same data analytics job hunting part. And then I'll open the floor for any questions. But remember, you can keep asking questions during the session as well. You don't have to wait. Just ask me, raise your hand, and ask me question. Um, do you guys have anything, or should I move ahead?
I think we're good at that.
Perfect. Um, so just 30 seconds about me. So I have studied in India, did my engineering from BITS Pilani University. Then I worked in Bangalore with a company called Fractal Analytics. I joined as a fresher, so do have experience. Like when do you begin data analytics just out of college and you don't know anything about it? So I began in 2016. I got two promotion over the next 4 years. Worked across various clients, across various projects, learned my skills of data analytics, became senior data analyst, and then I moved to UK in 2020 with the same company. I worked with them for a couple of years. Then I switched my job to a healthcare company in UK, Cree Livy. There also I worked as senior data analyst, but that was a completely different experience because I was moving from a consulting to a product startup. So the data analytics again varied as a role. Then in 2023, this year, July, I left my job at Cree Livy and then I moved to Comcast. And currently I'm working as a senior data analyst at Comcast. Um, then who's this session for? So this session can be beneficial for three categories of people, I believe. First, people who are interested in just knowing about analytics field, who have no experience of analytics, and that's completely fine. You're just curious about like what happens in this field, like how do we get job, what do we people do in this field. Second, people who are like looking for a career change. You may be working into something else and you find data analytics quite interesting, and you want to figure out like how can I make this switch. Or there are a few people on this group who are already working in analytics, but you were working in India and you moved to UK and you are finding it difficult to find a job in the UK market, because market to market, the roles, the hiring things can be different. So these are the people specifically I feel this session could be useful for. Then moving on to what exactly is data analytics. Data analytics is nothing but it's like finding patterns in numbers. you would have seen so much data and numbers around you, like starting from the messages you send each other, the Amazon shopping that you do every day. There could be so much data about what do you like shopping, where do you like going, traveling, do you work like 9 to 5 on the weekdays and you travel a lot, go to restaurants on the weekends. Anything and everything that you see around us, everything has data, everything has numbers. So data analytics is nothing but getting all these numbers and making a sense out of it. So it sounds very complicated and like confusing when we talk about, okay, how can we make sense of numbers, which is just lying around. But we'll be talking about some very familiar examples of things that we use on a daily basis, and then it will become quite simpler. And then I'll tell you like how data analytics is related to it. So Amazon, I believe Amazon, most of you have used it, right? um, stop me if you have any questions again. So Amazon, so you would know like this picture is just from my account, a picture of where Amazon is recommending me certain products, which are like kitchen utensils, like water bottle, lunch boxes. How or why would Amazon recommend these products to me? How would they even know that I as a customer would be interested in it? It is because I have been shopping with Amazon, let's say, since the past 3 years. So Amazon has a lot of data about me. They know that, okay, so Pearl lives in UK. She does a lot of utensils or kitchen appliances shopping. She does a lot of baking appliances shopping. So it means that she is a lot into cooking or she is a lot into baking. So Amazon will understand that data and start recommending me products similar to that, because that will increase my chance of buying these products rather than Amazon recommending me some sports products or Amazon recommending me some beauty products. So that's how companies like Amazon, Uber, or things that you see from day to day like Sainsbury's, all of these companies, any and every company that you use, they use our customer data to understand us better, like, and recommend us products. It's a win-win situation for both, because we as customers, we don't have to spend like hours looking for things on Amazon. They give us recommendations, we find our products and we buy. The company, it gets more and more customers. So it's a win-win situation. And where does data analytics comes into picture? If let's say I'm working as a data analyst in Amazon and I have all of these customers data, that which customer uh, buys what products over a month, like in winters they buy a lot of winter clothes, in summer they buy something else. Yes, Sapna?
This is a part of data analytics or machine learning.
This is a part of data analytics.
Okay, I mean, if I search any product and Amazon collect the data and okay, I thought that this is a part of machine learning. Yeah.
uh, yeah, so
Okay.
um, I would say that machine learning is an advanced data analytics, but most of the companies that generates insights or tries to understand their customer data, it starts with data analytics. And machine learning is when like they want to make very smart decisions on like certain decisions. But I'll come to that. Like I'll also explain a bit into, when we'll be talking about skills, I'll also explain a bit into like why machine learning is important and which all the roles it will be needed, not needed, things like that. uh, so yeah, so these sort of insights and recommendations, it can come from data analytics as well, and can come from machine learning as well. But the machine learning insights will be very smart, will be very accurate, because like it will be based on artificial intelligence. But yeah, so the example that I was giving, let's say I work as data analyst with Amazon. So my role will be all the data that will come, my role will be to make sense out of that numbers, because the data is collected, let's say, in some of the database. No one can just look at the data and understand what does it mean. It will be just numbers, right? Pearl made this order at this time, bought this. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what will Amazon do out of it? So role of a data analyst is to get that data, convert it into a usable format, and then present it to people who are making the decisions, be it a manager, be it a VP, whoever. Any questions? Okay, cool. So another like similar example is for YouTube. So YouTube also has a lot of our data, like what sort of things we watch. The So basically, in this example, you can see this whatever you're seeing um, on the screen. It is from my account. So YouTube has shown a lot of videos around content creation or productivity. It's because YouTube understands that I, as a person, I watch a lot of similar videos, like around productivity or content creation. So they start showing me videos around these themes. And that's how they get more customer. That's how they retain their business and grow their customers. So these are just two examples, but any or every business that you see around you would be using data. Some would be using data less, some would be using data more. So all in all, like, why these examples were important, because every company you see around would need a data analyst. The extent or expertise would vary, but everyone needs data analyst. Moving on to, like, what are the areas that you can work in the UK market? So these are just some of the examples. This is not the whole list. There would be like more industries, but these are, let's say, like some of the major examples. For example, the banking sector. Banking sector, you would know like companies like Monzo, Revolut, the standard banks like Lloyd's Bank. There are lots of banks who would need data analysts. Ranging from around skills I'll discuss in a while, but ranging from a beginner data analyst to an expert data analyst, it could vary. Then healthcare or insurance companies like Vitality. There are a lot of diagnostic companies like Bluecrest. So all of these companies would need data analysts because they do have a lot of data, but the most people who work in business do not know how to process that data or make sense out of it, and that's why they need data analysts. Then other companies or sectors like travel tourism, like British Airways, they would hire a lot of data analysts. Companies like Amazon, we already saw an example. Then food and beverage industry, we can talk about, like Starbucks or Pret. These are the companies that do hire data analysts. um, okay, now getting into skills needed to work in data analytics. So I have divided it into three chunks. First, beginner level, who have no or little experience. Then experienced, 3 years plus, or expert, 7 years plus. Now, beginner level data analyst. Um, a lot of companies, like most companies, do not expect you to know tools like SQL and Python, but some companies do. So that thing varies from company to company. So this is a generic idea that I'm sharing with you guys, but exact requirement might vary from company to company. So when you like, let's look into the skill set. Like beginner level, they expect you to know data crunching in Excel. That is like expected. You have to know, like manipulating the data, making changes, getting aggregations on Excel. It is like expected that you would know that. Now, SQL, a lot of companies do expect you to know SQL. Now, if you go online and look for like SQL tutorials, you might find there are various different formats of SQL, because there are different tools through which you can use SQL. Like some of the names, if you would not have heard, like when I share this, you can like Google and search more about it, like BigQuery, Snowflake. These are some of the SQL databases that are available in the market. These are the tools, are used to process the data. Because remember that Amazon example, Amazon has a lot of data, but how would or where would it store it? So Redshift is a like Amazon database. They store their data there. So as a data analyst, you are expected to be able to process that data using SQL. So what I was saying, that there are various formats available online, but it remains similar. So even if you process SQL in BigQuery, Snowflake, or Redshift, the logic doesn't change. The format or syntax could, that is like easily available online. Yes, Sapna?
I'm wondering for the beginner level, how much SQL should know a person, like queries, joins,
Mm-hmm.
and group by, and order by, having, like what else, like apart from that?
Uh, I would say for a beginner level, these are good enough. For a beginner level, you should just remember that you are able to uh, manipulate the data, not advanced SQL. By manipulating, I mean the functions that you just mentioned, like selecting the data, which is used to query the data. Then manipulating the data. Let's say you have to filter out the data. So use a where clause. If you have to like join two data tables, that is expected by a beginner. So these are the fundamentals which are expected by a beginner to know in SQL. What is okay if you are like not aware of as a beginner is like some of the window functions, like a row number, rank. They do not expect if you are like just a beginner to know it, but 1 year or 2 year into the job, you would be expected to know the advanced functionalities as well. uh,
And what about like do apart from these two, is it necessary to know about the cloud computing as well, like Azure or AWS at this level, beginner
no,
level?
no, it's not required. It's definitely not required. So at a beginner level, see, like on the screen next to SQL, I have not mentioned any tool like BigQuery, Snowflake, or Redshift. Reason being, most companies do not expect. I mean, it's good. It's good. You'll stand out if you are like, like querying or doing everything in BigQuery. But most companies just expect you to be aware of how things work on SQL. Like if they give you a data, you are able to query it. You are able to, like filter it out. You are able to join the data. They expect you to do that. But talking about, like building pipelines or making connections, those things on BigQuery or Azure or Snowflake, they do not expect you to know those things. um okay. Did that answer your question? Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
um
thank you.
no worries. And then Python or R, I have kept as optional again because it's amazing if you know it, but a lot of companies do not need it. A lot of companies like expect that it's good to, they'll just mention that it's good to have if you know Python or R. But it's I have not seen like beginners to like a mandate for beginners to know Python or R. Then BI tool, it is important. BI tool is definitely a mandate, just one tool. And if I talk about just UK market, with my experience of last 4 years in this market, I have seen that Tableau and Looker, these are the two BI tools that most companies use. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Power BI?
Power
Heard
BI.
about a lot that because it is like more cheap than Tableau, and it's a
Yeah,
Microsoft one, so lots of companies are also doing Power BI.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a trick there, like how to, like it's, so there are two things. If you learn one BI tool, you'll be able to catch up on the other BI tools pretty quickly. Because when you learn like building, visualizations on a BI tool, you understand the fundamentals of storytelling. What are you doing on BI tools? You have your insights or numbers. You create a story for someone to come on the dashboard and understand like what is happening. That thing, the fundamentals remain same across all the BI tools. It's just the functionality changes a bit. That's all. And that is like, trust me from my experience, it is very easy to catch up on. The second thing is, as we were discussing, like what companies would prefer. So like most like big companies who already have sort of collaborations with companies like Microsoft, or let's say collaboration with Google, they tend to use those tools. Like for example, let's say a certain company has a like collaboration with Microsoft, so they might be using all the tools from Microsoft. Like for communication, they would be using Outlook. For dash like visualization, they might be using Power BI. Similarly, some companies might prefer Google dashboards like Looker, um, Data Studio. So that depends. But what I'm talking about is a lot of emerging companies in the UK market. Most companies, if you like Google on LinkedIn or Otta platforms, you'll see most companies prefer Tableau or Looker. So these are like important to just make yourself aware with like how it is going to work. um then another important thing is strong communication. So that is obviously from a beginner they won't expect that you would have experience of like um collaborating with teams and talking to like very senior stakeholders, but they'll expect beginner data analyst to be able to communicate whatever you're creating well to the end user. Let's say you are creating a dashboard which is going to be used by a VP of the company. So the VP won't have time to sit down half an hour and try to understand everything, like whatever you have created, whatever process you have been through. They'll just have 5 to 10 minutes to understand, okay, this is what it is and this is how I'm going to use it. So whatever you took like 1 month to create this dashboard, you have to compress all of that, convert it into a simplest communication, and communicate that to the VP. So that is what like would be expected. But that again, that is a thing which most people learn on the job. So to begin with, you should be good to communicate, but like handling the stakeholders or talking to the teams, collaborating with the teams, these are the things we people learn on the job. So it's not a very like non-negotiable thing. That's for the beginners level. Now for experience and expert, I'll just talk together because it's kind of similar. Some of the things are just different. For experience, I'm saying 3+ years, because like in 1 to 3 years you learn a lot of things on the job. Like when you're a beginner, you just know from the courses like how things work and like how we write code, what sort of problem could come. But when you start working, you actually see the real life scenarios, which would be very different from how you learn on courses. So now people will start expecting from you that you should have worked like 1 to 2 platforms for SQL, like BigQuery or Snowflake. Then Python or R, obviously that's an optional. You don't have to like know both. Just pick one. My personal preference, like if you ask me, I would suggest learn Python, because that is more usable in most projects. So whenever, if you're a beginner and you start to learn Python or R, I would suggest choose Python. Because also like machine learning and all of those things, if you are like getting into the expert phase, Python is well like very easy to use, and most advanced. Now the BI tools, the same: Tableau, Looker, Power BI. um, Strong communication and stakeholder management. Again, here like in 3 years, people will expect you to be able to start independently at least, talking to people, like building projects, communicating results. So, but that will come with experience. Now the 7 years one, um, the initial set of skill sets will obviously remain the same. Now what will get added is like machine learning, gate proficiency, experimentation, these things. So I'll just talk a bit more about this. So machine learning, basically, it's all part of data analytics itself. It's just it's a more advanced data analytics, you can say. So machine learning is nothing but whatever like for example, if you have a data and you want to predict, okay, in the next 1 month Pearl will buy something from Amazon or not, I can do that analysis on Excel sheet as well. Like I can just use some mathematical calculation, I can do that, and I'll get some result, but that won't be very accurate. Why? Because it's not very statistical. It's not on the basis of all the data points and like understanding pattern and things like that. But on the other hand, if I use a machine learning model to predict that, okay, in the next month 1 month Pearl will, what are the things that Pearl could buy or not buy, that will be more accurate. I won't go too detail into it because like it might not be relevant for you guys right now. But yeah, it's very advanced analytics, and it's not at all needed for like beginners or like if you are 1 to 2 years into analytics. And uh, GitHub. GitHub is a platform. So most people won't know about it, but GitHub is just a platform where data analytics teams use to store their codes or store their work, because it helps them to like people can work together on GitHub. Like people can work on the same code, see like who changed the code when, things like that. Also people do use GitHub for another purpose, that is for sharing their profile. Like few days back, Sapna and I were talking about sharing her profile on GitHub. She already had a profile on GitHub, and it was a great profile, because what she had done, Sapna, if you don't mind me sharing that. Yeah, thank you. So Sapna had created, so she has experience of building dashboards, and she has done some courses. So she had put up all the projects or the courses that she had done, or all the dashboards that she has created, in a really good manner on GitHub. So imagine when a recruiter, if she shares this link with a recruiter on her resume, they would be so much interested to go into GitHub and have a look at it. And like makes you stand out, because most people just create a resume and share with the recruiters. So creating a GitHub, or having your personal website, or having a really good LinkedIn profile, all of these things are very important in making you stand out. Yes, Sona?
Is it possible for us to get the GitHub link so that we can have a look at the courses to start with?
um I mean, it's Sapna's link, so she would be the best person to ask.
Okay, so can I share my link? Like, is there any provision in the Google Meet? This one?
Yeah, you can go to the chat here. On the
Sorry,
right, bottom right, there's a
bottom right. Activities in activities.
uh no, on the left of the activity, there's a message symbol.
Yes, massive symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, there you can post your link.
Okay, 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 okay. I just post my link. Yes. Thank you, Sapna.
Thank you so much, Sapna, for sharing your GitHub link here. Also, if you guys are interested in learning about, I'll come to that topic later, but just like if you need any suggestions on any courses, you can like let me know. I can share it after the call as well. But I'll talk about it later as well. So, do you guys have any more questions around the skill sets or anything, or else we can move on?
Nothing from me.
Okay, cool. So, how to look for a job? Most of you would know, but I've just added some of the things that I feel are really like important. Like there are two platforms that I just use for looking for a job. One is Ota, second is LinkedIn. So Ota is a LinkedIn, you all might already know. You just go on LinkedIn, look for a job. Ota is a really cool platform. I personally love that platform. I have also added link of Ota on this. So uh, it first asks you, like whenever you log in into Ota, it first asks you your preferences, like do you have a visa, or would you need a visa, what type of company do you want to join, what sort of skill sets you have. So it asks you a lot of things. On the basis of that, it creates a search preference for you, and every day you'll get alert on that. And I personally find it really good. Like the bunch of companies it shares with you is really good. So especially if you don't have a restriction with visa, you already have a visa, it's a really good platform, because lots of good companies like keep posting there. and a lot of startups do post there. So in my experience working in startups, you learn like a really good thing. Yes, Sonam?
Is there any site where you can apply for just remote jobs?
Yes. So uh, on actually on both platforms, like I'm not sure of any platform where you can only apply for remote jobs. There would be, but I don't remember on top of my head.
There's this called remote jobs for her, but I
Huh?
couldn't really find very relevant jobs in there like you find on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn has a mix of both. Sometimes you get
Right.
remote jobs, sometimes it's hybrid. I
Yeah.
was just looking if something there's just for remote jobs where you can apply.
I'm not sure on top of my head, but I can look up for something. If I find, I'll share it with you. However, this Otta platform that I've shared, it does have a like when it asks for your search preferences, it does ask you like, do you want a remote or what? So you can only select remote, and it will only show you the jobs which are like remote. So you can
Okay,
give
okay.
it a
That's
try.
nice.
It's a really good platform. Hope it helps. Um, but yeah, and like Otta, it also talks about like what company and like it gives you all insights about how is this company, like who are the top notch people from this company, how people grow in this company, things like that. So it's pretty good. Have a look. So these are the platforms I would recommend. Third thing is, it's also good to like if you hear about a company, you see somewhere or somebody tells you, you also apply from the company websites. Sometimes it's also good to like apply, because I have tried for myself, like apply from both places. Like if I apply from Mota, I also apply from the company website. Sometimes it's help. So these are just some tricks that I have used and I'm recommending you guys. Fourth important thing is go by personal connection. Like like a lot of time people get jobs through their personal connection, because and you talk when you talk to people, like for example, when I was looking for a job, I would let everyone know around me that I'm looking for a job, because you never know, like somebody you meet, they might know someone who is hiring, or in their company itself or in their team itself somebody would be hiring. So and people always prefer hiring people who are in their network. So like personal connection, like just ask people, tell them that you're looking for a job, not just on WhatsApp group. Even when like you're meeting someone, they keep this point in on top of your head, and nobody minds. Like everybody is looking for jobs, so it's completely fine. uh, Now some of the points, like as I was already like talking a bit like previously, to make your resume stand out is, and these are the learnings honestly that I have also learned with my experience. Like when I had begun my journey, there was no one to tell me like um, like write on LinkedIn or do this, do that. But these are the things that I have learned the hard way, and I think that people can start adopting it early in their career. So showcase your project somewhere. You doesn't necessarily have to be GitHub. Like just maybe create a personal website, or just create a blog, or what, like YouTube if you're into content creation. Start writing on LinkedIn, but like make yourself go out there. Like people should know that what are you good at, what do you know, what you can what sort of impact you can create. So create that, basically do your own marketing. It is very very important. Share your knowledge and learnings on LinkedIn, like whatever you're learning and you think that it's good to share with people, not just getting job and promotions, but sharing. Let's say you learn something and you want to share that, okay, I learned something, this is how it would be useful, or you read some articles and you feel that you can share it with on LinkedIn. So things like that, so that gradually and slowly builds your like people start looking at you as an expert in that field. So these things are very important. And join data communities. Like there are lots of communities here in London. Like I have also started, like I can share links if you guys want. There are lots of conferences that keeps happening, not necessarily paid conference and events. Join them, even if virtual. It gives you a different perspective what people are doing around the world, and just keeps you like aware of the data world. So it's and also like it helps you build your network, which is very important. So build your network in the field that you're working on. Like if not data analytics, something else, but like it's very important. Yeah, post the call. I'll share links of these networking events, or the conferences with you guys. Yeah. Uh, then process to apply. So I believe this is just three-step process to apply for jobs. Simple three-step process. First, build your resume. Whatever you know. Like, you don't have to be an expert at what you are going to apply for, but yeah, I'll do that. Okay. I'll be sharing this deck as well. So I'll add all of these links towards the end of the last slide so you guys can refer it back. Uh, okay. So build your resume in the sense that whatever you know, like whatever you have learned or whatever experience you have, build your resume with that. Make sure it's very crisp and structured. It's to the point. And using that resume, now start finding jobs. Now, when we go to the step two, very important thing, do not apply every job with the same resume. This is a mistake that most people do. Reason to that is, the screening process that happens in most companies, it's not a manual process. It happens using automated process. So those algorithms, what they do, they'll reject your resume if it doesn't match with keywords or requirements from the job profile. That's why it's very, very important to tailor your resume or to modify your resume to include these keywords to match the job description. Now, I'm not saying that, like, like, just add whatever you have not worked on, but whatever you have worked on, align it in a way. Let's say, for example, if you have worked on Tableau dashboards, okay, and nowhere on your dashboard nowhere on your resume you have mentioned Tableau or insights generation, or providing recommendations, these sort of words, but these words are available on the job description. So in that case, even if you have worked on these things but you have not mentioned on your resume, the algorithm will reject your resume because it's not matching with the job. So it's very important to go through the job description, see what all the things that you have worked on, pick up those keywords, and if you have worked on those things, incorporate those keywords on your resume as well. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Sapna?
So, what do you mean by keywords? Like, for example, when I search any job in LinkedIn, they have like mentioned 10 key skills, right? For
Right.
any job, right? So, you are talking about those key skills or
Let,
anything else?
let me share my screen. One second. I'll just give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. So, you guys see this LinkedIn? See my LinkedIn, right? So I've just looked up for something for data analyst. So let's say we go through this and we'll see that um, about the job, it's okay because it's just talking about the company. What you will do. So it's talking about developing quantitative analysis. Go through this just these lines, okay? So it's talking about quantitative analysis. This is a keyword because data analysts do quantitative analysis. Then querying the data sets. So implementing metrics and dashboards and reports, then applying visualization techniques. So just make a list of all of these keywords that you are coming across. Like, there are more. Like, for example, what you need, they are talking about interpreting data and business intelligence, analytics, data science. So if you have worked as a data analyst, you can like use words like, obviously analytics will be used somewhere in your project, so not to worry about it. Now in the skill set, they're asking SQL, Google Analytics, Excel. Let's say you have worked on all these three, so you are supposed to mention these three keywords on your resume. Let's say out of Python R, you have worked only on Python, just mention Python on your resume. Then, for example, different type of databases. Let's say out of these databases, you don't have experience on Elasticsearch, but you do have experience on PostGRE. So you mention PostGRE. Sometimes you could just mention SQL, but like it's good to mention PostGRE SQL, so that when the algorithm is running from the screening side, from the recruitment side, they know that okay, this person has experience in this. Then things like data visualization, things like Tableau Looker. So these are the keywords that you are supposed to look out for. Was it clear? Any more questions?
What should be the size of resume?
Um, if you are a beginner, I would recommend, um, actually not just for beginner, like prefer keeping it one page, at least up to 3 4 years of experience. Just one page, because it can be accommodated in one page. Because imagine a recruiter, like hiring manager, looking at your resume. They would be having so many profiles to go through, right? They won't have the time to look through everything. So keep it very to the point, add impacts in your resume, and what you have created, how you have created, things like that, and keep it one page. Especially if you're a beginner, keep it one page. It could go up to like 1.5 page or something if you are like 2 years, sorry, 5 6 years of experience. Like I have 7 to 8 years of experience, I still have a resume which is like 1.5, even less than that. Because people don't have time to go through everything. You just put the most important thing. Even if you have done like 10 projects in your 2 years of experience, you do not put all 10 projects on your resume. You just put the most impactful ones and relevant ones. Let's say, for example, I'm applying for a company which is like, who do not do machine learning at all. So I would not put my machine learning project on my resume because it's not relevant for them.
Okay, and uh, it's just like that. In my case, like I have a career break, like
Mm-hmm.
a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was like, well, I mean, I was studying, and before that, I was like working. And
Mm-hmm.
that work experience is not at all relevant with the data analyst field because I'm looking for a career change.
Uh-huh.
Then, in that case, should I mention like the previous work experience of 10 years of doing something, or
Mm, okay. It's a very important thing because a lot of people would have such experience. So, definitely whatever work experience you have will be useful in your next role. How? Because a lot of skill sets are transferable wherever you worked. Whatever experience you have for like 10 years, you would have worked in teams. You might have had, like team management experience, or leading experience, or mentoring experience, or handling projects experience. So, all the, I would say, non technical skills, but which are very important. Those are the skills which you can use or showcase from your previous experience, because those are the skills anyways people learn on job, be it data analyst, be not. You learn all of these, managerial experience or project based experiences on job. You already have that. So showcase whatever experience you have in a way crisply relevant to wherever you are applying. Let's say you are applying to a, healthcare company, just a random example, and you have a, um, and they're looking for someone to work in team, or work in team very collaboratively, or work like people with across the globe. And let's say in your previous experience you do have that, like experience of working with people across the globe. You have worked in teams, you have led teams. So you can showcase those things in your resume, so that people are able to relate, okay, you already have these experiences, and regarding the technical skills, you're already working on those. You're already showing the proof that I've created this dashboard, I've learned these courses. So you have to like, you might have 10 years of experience and like 2 years of learnings. You have to like concise all of that on one and a half page of resume to show to wherever you're applying that is your experience is relevant to the job. Does that
Can
make
we
sense?
add like, yeah, can we add like the projects if we are doing some online projects on our own, but
Mm-hmm.
we are not working for any company, right? But we are just doing the projects. So can we add those projects on the resume?
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're a beginner on data analytics, uh, the companies know that you haven't worked in a previous company on data, right? They already know. So when you're showing that, I took out time to learn these things and create projects of my own, that makes you stand out of the whole crowd. So definitely you can show those things. And that's why I was recommending that put your project out either on GitHub, put it on a personal website, put it on LinkedIn, like somewhere, so that people can understand what you have worked on.
Okay, thank you.
Lavanya, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah. I'm stuck at that resume length or whatever the things to be included in the resume.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have, as I said earlier, I have 5 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, I worked in data analyst sector itself. So to include the projects, should I be including one or two projects, and then how to see if I wanted to match a skill or what are the keywords in the jobs to be applied, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to showcase those skills in the projects whatever I have done in order to match those LinkedIn job responsibilities or descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So from job to job I have to change those skills whatever I have included in the resume. And then as you said, 1.5 pages of resume, I'm still confused at that. How you know to include a project, how many lines I should explain them, and how to just in 2 lines how can I explain in relevant skills so that I can showcase whole things what one can get from me. So like that, I'm not sure about how short and how crisp that I can keep of my CV.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's a very, I would say, important question. A lot of people have these questions. So taking your questions one by one. Firstly, you asked um like let's talk about the length of the resume. You said like you're not sure like how to like make it short up to 1.5 page. So I'll just quickly share my profile. um so this is not my resume, but my resume is quite similar. Like give me 1 second. Let's go into my profile. Okay. So these are some of the projects that I had added from my first company. So see, you might have done 10 projects, but like even if for my when April 2019 to Jan 2019, 10 months, I must have worked on like 3 4 projects. But I cannot write everything on the resume because honestly like nobody has time to read everything. So what I had done, all of out of those 3 4 projects, I just wrote 1 to 2 lines of what impact did I create. Like if you and just a quick context about it. Like for example, if you read here what I've written, that I worked with what team and for what. Like I worked with a marketing team to quantify and improve the some initiative. And then in 3 points I think I have written like what I exactly did. I built a notification marketing channel impact acquisition project. I What impact I created visibility into these many campaigns, which was across these many countries. Then why all of this was useful? Because it resulted in like so and so things, helping the company to like achieve something. So basically, whatever projects you would have done, try to break it down into max 2 to 3 points. And how you will choose like which projects to show. Let's say you have worked on 10 projects, whichever job you are applying for, you'll have to understand that, like let's say you're applying for a BI sort of role, like for example a role which encourages a lot of dashboard building. So there you might not need a lot of you would want to show all of your projects where you have created a dashboard and somebody used it. So, like, you have to pick up your projects, like just pick those particular projects which are useful only for those role. um I hope that did
Yeah,
answer your question to some extent.
yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And as of said,
Sabina,
I do have
mhm,
career gap as well. So how should we or we not? Sometimes some of the recruiters say, so that's stopping. I'm starting my first job. I'm looking for my first job in this UK.
mhm.
So somebody say that career gap is that one that's stopping few people to approach me, or that's standing as a hurdle that we show. Some say that. You just take out, I have 2 years or so. Some say that you take out 1 year and say like something you have done or something like that, or so I don't know how to I right now I have kept that career gap as like what I have done or what I'm doing right now, or certifications or something like that. So how well one can portray that career gap?
um so I would say that career gap, definitely a lot of people have that, but it should not stop you. I know a lot of people, like recruiters, do not reach out because they think that you have a career gap, so you would not have the relevant experience which is needed in the market today. For that reason only, you'll have to, uh, like, you might be doing courses, you might be building projects of your own, not working with a company. You need to showcase those things somewhere. So for example, like, again, like taking example of Sapna, because she created a really good profile on GitHub. So she did some courses. In the courses, she learned how to, like, process the data, create dashboard, show the relevant metrics. So whatever she did, she added that on GitHub. You can add that on LinkedIn, you can add that on your personal website, like anywhere. It just have to be out so that people know that even if you're coming back from career gap, you are working to, build the skills for the next role. So that's what, like, would be important for a company, that you know how to process data, you know how to build metrics, you know how to build dashboards. If you know that, I mean, they cannot stop you for, like, giving the interview, because they know that you have worked for it, like you have created your profile. Yeah.
How much education level, I mean, how in the hierarchy for the like what we have studied in our life. So how in the hierarchy we should go the deep down for the education
um
and mentioning the resume on mentioning the resume.
you sorry, if I
Yeah,
understand correctly, you mean adding your education or adding your
yeah, adding my education, like from where should I start? Like from, from the school till the graduation, or just the last education we
I would
did?
I would say add your graduation and, like, above, whatever you have done.
Okay, so for honestly for myself, if I say, because I showed told you that what I did, like
Yeah.
graduation, then post graduation, then PhD. So
Mhm.
it's adding all the information and what I had studied in those education, because as I told you that I did the boot camp, and the career coach told me that how to make a resume, and uh, adding my education and what main thing, like we add in the projects experience. So add key points in your education as well, that what you studied, right? So adding all the stuff regarding my education, then the past experience,
Mhm.
everything make, I mean, I've just fit my resume in 2 pages now.
Mhm.
Now I'm thinking, should I make a dashboard of my resume? just like just like something so that it can be fit in one page.
Yeah.
So I just don't know whether I should I mean, mention all my education as well, or just do the final thing. That's it.
um Firstly, it will be a little difficult for me to, like, give you very specific suggestion, because I haven't looked at your resume, right? But if you ask me, like, right now, what would be my suggestion is, uh you know your resume best, you know your education background and your work experience best, right? Look at the kind of jobs you are applying. Let's say you're applying for data analyst jobs. From your education experience, do you think everything would be relevant? Like the undergrad that you have done, the PhD that you have done. I'm just like giving examples. I'm not sure about it, like what you have studied, but whatever you have done, like bachelor's, master's, whatever you have done, just look at it if everything is relevant or not. If you think that yes, I should mention it because like you have done some good MBA, good master's degree, then just add it in single line. You don't have to like much detail. Just write, masters this college, that's all. Bachelor's this college, that's all. Because education, even if like it's important to add, because like especially in UK, people do ask you that if you have done only bachelor's or if you have like done higher studies, people do ask you. So it's good to add, but not more than a line. Like one degree doesn't need more than a line. So yeah, you can add like that, but try to, I mean, resume building is just an iteration process. Like honestly, I'm telling you from my experience, you just have to iterate and see like what is working, what is not working, because things also change a lot from the recruitment side. Like all of these screening things didn't used to happen like 4 years back, but now it has become so much that also the referral one, I was about to get to that on the presentation, but referral is very very important. Like I know a lot of people just we just keep applying without any referral, but most of the times when you get selected, it's because someone has referred you. So referral is very important. And your next question could be that how do I get referral? I don't know people. So even I have done that. So that's why all of these things that I'm sharing with you guys is coming from my personal experience. So the third point that I've mentioned here is reach out to people on LinkedIn. Like if you find, let's say you find a job on Amazon, okay, just obviously keep your resume ready, keep the job link ready, find people on WhatsApp group, find people on LinkedIn, just reach out to them, build, like send connection. Once they accept, send them a very crisp message. Do not just ask them to refer you, send them exact action item, because honestly nobody has the time to like read through your profile and like see, talk to you, etc etc. So keep a template ready. 2 lines, introduce yourself, share the request that I'm this and this, I have this experience, I really need like your help with this referral. Share the link, and just 2 to 3 lines or 3 to 4 lines, just add why you are suited for this role, why that person should add like refer you. So first and second point is important, like introduction and sharing the referral link, to save the time for that other person who is going to help you. And third point here is why you should share a 3 to 4 liner or 2 to 3 liner about yourself, why you are well suited. Because most people, when they are referring someone, are asked this question. So instead of they asking you that send me this, then you creating that and sending them, keep these things ready. So it will become easier for the other person as well to just refer you. And a referral, like most companies today go by referral, most companies. So it's very very important, rather than just applying on LinkedIn or whatever platform. um yeah, any other question here?
What do you think, like, for a beginner, like, how many jobs one should apply in a day? Like, I was applying like anything and was getting rejection like anything. I mean, my resume like instantly get rejected or filter out. Something is going on there. So I just get disappointed by applying that. Should I apply? Because changing the resume every time for a particular job, then applying, then if you want to, follow up with them, lots of job mails are coming in my inbox. Like, I just got frustrated that how, what's the, like, there should be any ratio. Like, some people said like hundreds of jobs in a day. I mean, is it like really feasible applying hundreds of jobs in a day?
I wouldn't recommend that because it's two things. There are like so many jobs, but like there would be hundreds of jobs, but hundreds of jobs might not be relevant for you. So there's no point applying to hundreds if you can just, pick and choose. I'm not saying just apply two, but I'm saying that apply for the jobs where you know at least 60 to 80%, not less than that. 60 to 80%, you know that 60 to 80% of the things, like even if just by learning through courses, those things. So apply on those jobs. And regarding your question about two points here. First, about your like changing the resume for every job. That's what I was saying, that creating your initial resume, spend good amount of time on it. Why? Because create it in a way that you do not have to make lot of changes. Like for example, when you create your resume, make it structured, pointers, like adding only very important things in the resume. Now when you are let's say applying for a role which doesn't need, let's say you have learned Python but the role doesn't need Python, so you can just make a copy of your resume, remove the Python related projects, just keep dashboard or SQL. So make a universal sort of resume which has like most important things of whatever you have done, and you can just pick and choose out of it of what is relevant. Now this would sound very easy because I'm just saying it. I know it's very difficult because I've done it myself. So trust me, it's just like it's an iteration process. But again, do not apply to hundreds of jobs because it is frustrating, it is very disappointing. It obviously, rejections will happen, but like I myself have gotten lots of rejections. Like when I used to apply for a job, like when I was switching in UK, I had to like look for a job for like 6 months before I got what I wanted. So there are a lots of rejections, you will get disappointed, but try to figure out like why you are getting rejected. Either try asking the recruiter if it was ahead in the process and then you're getting rejected, they might help you. If you know some experts in the field, you can ask for the suggestions, get your resume screened from them. So like try to figure out what is not working. Because I mean, yeah, again, like summarizing, I wouldn't recommend applying for hundreds of jobs because it's like very disappointing if you're just applying for jobs and like nothing is happening. So apply for 60 to 80% matching, change into relevance, and apply. Yeah. Sonam, Lavanya.
I just wanted to share my experience when I had come to UK and on how did I find my job. So I
Sure.
used to work as a business analyst in India. I came here in 2019 and I started looking for jobs in around August. I already had 7 to 8 years of experience in India. Earlier, for at least a month, I used to get so many rejections. I tell you, I won't even get interview calls. One thing that I did diligently is whenever I found any job which was relevant to my profile, so each job has some keywords that they have in their job descriptions, I keep adding those keywords in my resume. So it took about a month to build up a good resume which was catering to multiple jobs. And later when I had that good resume, if I had to edit my resume for some other job, it would be minimal work. It did take me a month or so to add in all the good keywords, because I'm sure it must be an automated process at the recruiter side as well, wherein they just look at the keywords. So I would suggest adding the keywords to your LinkedIn profile, adding the keywords to your resume. And also, the I used to refer sites called Total Job, Read, and CV Library, and I used to add those keywords on those profiles as well. Something as similar as your LinkedIn heading. Add those keywords to your LinkedIn head. Not everything, but something, say data analyst, knows Python, or knows XYZ proficient in XYZ technology. Add it to your LinkedIn heading. And you can also say that you're open for work on LinkedIn. That has also helped me. And all the best with your job search. I know it is very disappointing and heartbreaking, but you'll get what you want.
One more thing I want to ask, like, because LinkedIn is having a maximum 50 skills you can add. right? So whenever I apply for a job, it shows like sometimes only three skills are matching, sometimes four. And what happened, like for example, it is like for Tableau, right? So when I have already added Tableau in my skills, but they required the deeper down, like the related term with the Tableau, like dashboards, like storytelling, right, report writing or anything. I didn't mention these key skills on my skill set because I already reached 50 key skills. So I'm not sure that the person when we are applying through the LinkedIn, are they checking our LinkedIn I mean skill set as well, the matching skill set. So should I delete my original skills and then add new skills in that? What should I do? I just don't understand in that case. If anyone can help.
I can add one thought there. So the matching thing that LinkedIn shows, right? Don't get, I mean, don't get very disappointed by that, because it just do a to B matching, and that's why it shows you that you are just matching three out of whatever. So, like how Sonam suggested, that's a really good suggestion, Sonam. That try to just, like for example, you had Tableau, but you didn't have like storytelling. Add storytelling on your on your resume, because you have already worked on it, right? So you can add those keywords. So once you have your initial resume ready, you can just add and switch keywords on the basis of the job. So it won't take a lot of time, but it will help you get through the screening process, because that's the stage most rejections happen, right? Once you get through the screening process, it's just the interviews. Yeah, but don't get disappointed by that match on LinkedIn. It's usually shows you like very low number. Um, yeah. So
Does recruiter follow those matching on LinkedIn? That's what why I was asking. They just see the resume or they just match on the LinkedIn as well? That's
okay.
what my question is.
So when so do you mean when the recruiters looks for your profile on LinkedIn? Then so that's why you need to have these keywords on LinkedIn as well. But honestly, like if someone is looking for, like let's say a data analyst who has worked on Tableau or whatever, they'll not exactly go by how many keywords matched on LinkedIn. That is for initial screening for them, because LinkedIn, let's say a recruiter has thousands of connections. So if they're trying just to find people in their network who know Tableau, and they filter out through that keyword, they'll get, let's say, 100 people who have worked on Tableau. So those keywords are just helping that recruiter to narrow down his search, so that he can reach out to those people to share the resume further. So further screening will obviously take place on the basis of your resume, but having these keywords on LinkedIn is important, so that you don't get rejected on like initial screening on LinkedIn as well. But obviously it's not possible to have like know every keyword in the world to include on your LinkedIn, right? So it's okay to go ahead with the most relevant keyword that you know of, like the tool name is not going to change, right? And also it's good to learn by looking at other people in the relevant sector. Like let's say a lot of data analysts who are in the beginner, like 1 to 2 years of experience in your network. You go and have a look on their LinkedIn profile, how they have created it. A lot of people don't maintain it, but have a look at people who do maintain their LinkedIn profile. uh, and try to like see like what keywords they are adding, etc. Yeah. uh Lavanya, Sonam.
Yeah. Actually, how much percentage do you think that we need to match our resume? I use an extension, Chrome extension called as Job Analytics, and then I match my resume to the LinkedIn jobs, whatever comes, and then I make sure that it is matching above 65 to 80%. But
Mhm.
then also, I do received so many rejections, and then the simple one line. Rejection answer they say was there are more such people who were exactly matching or who were more than most relevant to that profile. So that how should I take that, whether I should match the 10% or uh, like how is that? And one more question to this also, if I have done some certification, let's say like Google Professional Data Analytics certification.
Mhm.
So let's say that should I explain what are the skills I have learned through that? Some prefer that okay, like if I have learned data analysis, if I have learned some other visualization techniques, or different certifications provide us different skills. Do I need to mention the skills as well, or else simply, okay, I obtained certain certification, like that, it's most fine?
Uh, so on your first question, uh, I believe 60 to 80% is fine to apply, but there's a caveat here. The market is actually saturated in the sense there are lots of data analysts, right? So imagine a company hiring data analyst and two people are applying. One person has already worked on certain projects, like in some company, versus a beginner who doesn't have any experience, just has learned courses. So for that beginner level job, obviously the company will prefer someone who has experience, right? So it's always in comparison. Uh, so it's always in comparison because like there's so many people who know data analytics, right? So whenever you are looking for a job, you always have to try to stand out, and there could be multiple ways to stand out. And again, it's a hit and trial sort of process. You have to keep working on it. Like some of the ways that I suggested to stand out was like showcasing a profile in different ways, putting up your profile in, let's say, on LinkedIn, sharing your learnings on LinkedIn, not just learning that I did a course on Google Analytics, but let's say you learn, because everyone learns Google Analytics, right? There's no difference. So the what will make you stand out is that you learned Google Analytics, you applied your knowledge on some publicly available data, and you got some insights. You shared that. When people look at that, they feel that okay, this person has made the effort to create a project of just something that they learned. So that will make you stand out. So yes, the market is saturated in the sense like there are lots of people out there looking for jobs. So you have to try to make yourself stand out. Lavanya, does that answer your question, the first one?
Yeah, sorry, I had to drop and then rejoin, so I think I might miss the first part. I'm so sorry. So uh, I think you might have said like I should match within a certain percentage, or like what?
Okay, I'll give you an example. So so I have worked as a data analyst in all my 7 to 8 years. I also, guys, like we are 18 minutes like past our time, so let's try to wrap up soon. But cool. I mean, I have time, I can sit and discuss, but if any of you guys want to drop off, you can, because this was, I think, the last slide. I do not have anything beyond that. So Lavanya, to answer your question, um, I'll just give you an example from my personal experience. I have a analyst, senior data and analyst experience. I have 8 years of experience. When I was looking for job last year, I was also applying for some data scientist roles. Okay, kind of work analyst and data scientists do, like there's a very thin boundary in most companies. Like I have worked on so many machine learning models. Data scientists do the same thing, but I was getting rejected for those roles, and I was not able to understand why, because I was creating machine learning models in my experiences. I have done the same things. Then why was I getting rejected? So that's when I spoke to someone expert in the company, and like wherever I was applying, and then I got to know that there were people who had done PhD in statistical machine learning and things like that, and they were applying for the same role. So even though I had experience in building machine learning models, my resume was getting rejected because there were people who were even expert than me. So you get that. Like I was matching almost 90%, like match on those roles, but I was getting rejected because there were people who were more expert than me. So there will be situations like that. And that's why what I was suggesting, that try to make your resume stand out. Stand out in the sense like whatever projects you are building or things you are learning, not just like doing course on Google Analytics, but if you did a course, pick up some data, try to implement your learning and showcase that on LinkedIn, GitHub, personal website, wherever. uh, did that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, yeah. Got that.
Okay.
Just to add to
Thank you.
what Pearl was mentioning, there are sites like on LinkedIn you can follow something called Maven Analytics. They have challenges every month for Power BI dashboards. There's another, sorry about that. Sorry, there's another site called Kigan wherein you
Can
get
you
the
please
So,
data.
type
so
in the messages
your
that
voice
you
is
just
interrupting. Can you just repeat the both sides?
Analytics on LinkedIn, and there is a site called Kegel where you can get the data. I'll also, there's one more which I'm forgetting. I'll post it on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You can do projects on these sites and add it to your. So they, at the end of the projects, they give you a link wherein you can post it on your LinkedIn profile.
Kaggle, I got it. The first one I'm not
Maven
understanding.
Analytics.
I think
Maven. Okay.
the one Sonam is referring to. Maven Analytics, right?
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah,
There's
that's
one more which I'm forgetting. I need to open my laptop for that, but I'll share that link or name on our WhatsApp group.
okay. Perfect.
thank you
Like,
so much.
they
Yeah.
they are really good suggestions. Yeah. So whatever you're learning on these courses, share your, learning or projects or links somewhere on LinkedIn, even just on LinkedIn. So that will help you stand out and will make your process faster to get the job. Yeah. So, any other questions you guys have? Okay. Then feel free to reach out to me after this session, like any other topics. Also, like I will be sharing this deck with you guys. So I'm adding some links wherein you can reach out to me, like my website, my LinkedIn, my Topmate, and my YouTube. So website is if you want to have a look at, like, for example, how do you create your personal website. I have a very simple, very to the point website. You can have a look at that. Then LinkedIn, because like if you want to see how I've created my LinkedIn account. Topmate is where you can, yeah, I'll be sharing the recording as well. Yeah. uh, I'll be sharing the recording. I'll be creating a link for the recording. I'll be sharing with you guys. And um, Topmate is basically where you can reach out to me if you want help with screening resume and one-on-one call. Like, you can explore later. And YouTube, because I do create content on data analytics. So if you guys have any suggestions or just want to have a look, or if you want to learn something, and you can give me suggestion to create videos on. So it's for that. I'll be sharing this deck and the recording with you guys. Uh, but yeah, that's all. Uh, I'll hope the call was useful. Any other question that you guys have?
Thank you so much for
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much. Really,
that.
thank you,
Give
everyone. It was
good
a
thank you
nice
so
insights.
session.
much, everyone. Thank you, Sonam and Lavanya as well.
Thank you,
So,
Sapna and Sonam, too. I
yeah.
cleared few doubts
Try,
from your
try
questions,
to
and thank you,
connect
Sonam, for
on
your
WhatsApp group.
suggestions.
It's That's why it's useful, like being part of a community. You are like heading towards the same thing, learning from each other's experiences. Like, so that's great. Okay, I'll stop the recording now.
Are
Uh,
you all on the IWLK group? All of them?
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
cool. I'll share the links with you guys after the call. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me for any questions or suggestions, etc.
Yeah, we'll share my resume to you, Pearl, and have a look and
Okay.
suggest.
Um, I would suggest go ahead, like the link that I've shared on top, like I shared the deck. Uh, you can book call with me through that, like if you want.
Topmate.
Yeah, I've shared links on the deck. I'll share the presentation. Go
Where
through.
it is the where is the presentation? In the chat?
Yeah, after this call, I'll share
Okay.
the presentation link and the basically
Okay.
recording link with you guys. Have a look, and there are some links that I've added, like my website, LinkedIn, TopMate, YouTube. Have a look, and you can like set up call with me as well through TopMate. So, yeah, just whatever useful for you. Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool, guys. Thank you for joining. Have a great weekend. I hope this was useful for you all. And feel free to reach out to me in future with any suggestions or any questions.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Bye
guys. Bye
bye.
bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Same to you. Bye.